Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash. It is your brother Elder Ayathon. I'm back at you with another video. I want to say shalom to you elect members out there, you brothers and your sisters out there who are sincere, Dabanas, to all the apostles, bishops, elders, all y'all. Shalom. There's going to be a quick lesson where I want to expose something that Biden passed on March 9th while everybody was distracted by the C-19, the war, price gases, at the height of everybody's confusion, which is what they love to do. Biden passed this executive order right here, 14067. And here's a quote from it. It says, "My administration places the highest urgency on research and development efforts into the potential design and deployment options of a United States CBDC." So I want to familiarize you brothers with these terms and you sisters as well. President Joe Biden, March 9th, 2022, Executive Order 14067. Now, what does that mean? CBDC is a central bank digital currency, aka digital token, similar to cryptocurrency issued by central bank. So, in other words, instead of the Federal Reserve Bank issuing fiat currency, the paper dollars, or printing dollars on a printing press, this executive order, expedites the process into paving way for digital currency and getting rid of paper money, of money as we know it. So this is right from the whitehouse.gov, March 9th, 2022, Executive Order on ensuring responsible development of digital assets. And as you read through it, all it mentions is digital technology, digital assets for the protection of consumers, investors, businesses, including data privacy and security, financial stability and systemic risk, crime, national security. So, and the ability to exercise human rights. In other words, this is meant to take over all facets of life, just like money. Well, I should say cash. You know, they say, there's a saying, cash is king. Well, that's soon to not be the case. Looking for this article. Okay, this one explains the CBDC. I'm going to read some of it, but first let's go to a scripture. I got Revelation 13 here, but that's not what I want right now. Scripture I want is Psalm 64. Psalm 64 and 1 says, "Hear my voice, O Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, in my prayer. Preserve my life from the fear of the enemy." Now, when you read Deuteronomy the 68th chapter, Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, it explains who the enemy is. The enemy is them who went to the western border of Africa with their slave ships and boarded you so-called Negroes, you so-called Indians, those of you of Indian descent, indigenous descent, so-called African American, so-called Negro descent, you that were enslaved. Well, the Bible describes that nationality of people as the enemy, aka the Edomites. Today they call themselves Caucasians. So it says, "Hear my voice, O power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity," which is referring to the elites of this kingdom. They hold secret councils. Now, the Federal Reserve, I believe, was founded or invented on Jekyll Island. And Jekyll Island, when they did that, when they passed all the paperwork and had their meeting, secret meeting, and they usually do it in the middle of the night. Um, it was on New Year's Eve when everybody was distracted with Christmas. Okay. So that's how they like to do. So this one was passed, this executive order here that Biden passed was passed in March, in the midst of all the confusion from multiple angles, you know, um, the C-19, the war, gas prices, everybody getting sick, the jab. So during that time, they took the opportunity to swiftly and under the radar pass this executive order. This was not on the news. This should have been on the major news. This is a huge move, but it was not on the news. This was done in secret, pursuant to the scripture. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Now, this, excuse me, executive order was developed by Biden, right? Because they put everything in law. The scriptures speak about the unrighteous decrees. Oops, sorry. Isaiah 10 and 1 says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. An unrighteous decree is a law, and right grievousness which they have prescribed, right? Just like when you get a prescription, it's something written down, all right? Let's look at prescribe, matter of fact, just to get more clarity. Prescribe, recommend as something beneficial, state authoritatively or as a rule that an action or procedure should be carried out. So an unrighteous decree is a law. So this executive order that was passed is an unrighteous decree. Again, oops, sorry. Okay, I lost the scripture, but that was Isaiah 10 and 1. It said, woe to those who write unrighteous decrees, who write grievousness. This is a grievous decree that was written here, because with this, they're able to track not only where you're spending your money, but they're able to track you, because it's going to be embedded inside the injectable circuit board. This will be embedded in there. Now it talks about hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Like I said, that is a counsel of the elites, and that comes in different forms. The one responsible for this MOTB injectable circuit board, this executive order here, which was just to pass a decree to actually put in law. It has to be put in law because that's how Esau does things. So to make this happen, basically what it's going to do is going to, on paper, is going to legally initiate production of ways. Now they got to think of different ways to tackle these different problems that are mentioned in this article here. Tracking the money, security, avoiding security breaches. Now they have to come up with a solution for all this, and that solution is going to be the injectable circuit board, which they already have on deck. But they got to do everything on paper to make it so-called to go through they got to go through the motions. In other words, okay. So back to Psalms. It says, verse 2: hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Right. So what I wanted to say was they got different councils. The one that's pushing this is the Council of Foreign Relations, CFR, right? They have the Bilderberg Group. On a more lower level, right, which more people are familiar with, they've got the CIA, they got the DEA, they got the FBI. All those are councils of the wicked. And all the devices that they invent are devices to help further the agenda of the wicked. Right now, the main agenda is the injectable circuit board. That's the main agenda right now. So let's keep reading. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. And yes, there will be an insurrection. I mean, the elections are going on right now, and America is split right down the middle. The scriptures say a house divided against itself cannot stand. And this is something the elites have engineered and manufactured, which is division, division within a household, but division also within the country, which the country can be considered as a household. That is a house, right? In that house, there's a split between the red states and the blue states. Is a split damn near right down the middle. So this place is divided and it's primed for a civil war. And in the midst of all this confusion, a civil war which is building up, a race war will come out of that according to the scriptures. World War III will come out of that. Well, it's going to happen in the midst of that according to the scripture. So what is all that is going to make way for the solution to this problem, which is going to be a global digital currency. And that's what this is all about right here. This here. Okay, so let's keep reading. Verse 3, who whet their tongues like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. And they can do this through their media, through all the media that they have at their fingertips. And they can do this to push their agenda, to push any narrative they want. And if anybody stands in the way, they have the power, because people are easily led. You repeat something enough times, people believe it, becomes embedded in their subconscious, and then they act upon that belief. You know, they're like puppets. So they can also use this to crucify people in the media. And you can see that happening right now with Kyrie, Ye, and all those who are, who are that label anti-Semitic, right? So the media is very powerful because people don't think for themselves. They're sheeple, the majority of people. Verse 4, and you can see that as well with the jab. Anybody that didn't take the jab, they were demonized. Almost like they were the outcasts, like they were the ones that were sick. And that spell still persists to this day, actually. So verse 5, they encourage themselves in evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? Right, like I explained earlier, when they came up with the Federal Reserve, they did that on Jekyll Island in the middle of the night on New Year's Eve, because they're like, nobody sees us. Who's going to see us? And they passed that quietly. Same thing with the Gold Act. Now with this was passed again in the middle of turmoil, in the middle of confusion. So they figured, and nobody did notice this. Nobody mentioned it. This went under the radar. So in their minds, they're like, who shall see them? Verse 6, they search out iniquities. So they search out every angle, every possibility to push their agenda, to increase wickedness, every possibility, whatever they can invent, whether it be some new technology, whether it be a new law, whether it's a new disease. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. This is why another word you should know is technocrats. We're living in a technocracy. That's why the scriptures speak about the witchcrafts of Babylon, right? And refers to them as the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans were known for the witchcraft. Witchcraft today is known as technology. What is a technocracy? A technocracy is a government that is now ruled by technical experts. This is why they made certain people had prime time on TV. People that were not medical, had no medical degree, were not medical experts. And I'm thinking of Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci, and there's a couple other people that had no business being on TV, but they were on TV talking about how they're going to deal with what does Bill Gates know about dealing with a pandemic? but he got prime time talking about how he's going to deal with that. And that's because we're living in a technocracy where the technology experts are the ones that direct the king or the elites on where they should go, you know, through their analysis, through their studies, through their experiments. Verse it says, and the heart is deep, meaning their mind, because they got all that technology at their fingertips. So much technology that they can invent a nanotechnology that they can put inside of a syringe that can change your DNA. That's how deep the heart is. They're wiser than Daniel, as the scriptures say. All right, so let's read a little bit about the CB C3. Just wanted to warm it up before I got to it with some scriptures. So, what are central bank digital currencies? Now, this is from usgoldbureau.com. It says most world central banks are developing CBDCs, which are central bank digital currencies. The easiest way to understand a CBDC is that it is a digital version of fiat central bank issued money. So this money that we use now, paper, is going bye-bye. Different types of CBDC with varying privacy, accessibility, and application characteristics are being developed. Still, generally, the term refers to an electronic store of value, medium of exchange, and unit of account, which really CBDCs, digital currency, is old. Like it says here, different types of CBDC with varying privacy, accessibility, and application characteristics are being developed. This is why, excuse me, you have so many different forms of cryptocurrency right now. Dogecoin, PTC, Ethereum. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's hundreds of them. And the reason is because they're experimenting. They're experimenting with these different coins to get ready for the real implementation. And before cryptocurrency came out, you had before it was made public and you're able to trade them and all that, it was being used on something called the dark web. I don't know if y'all remember that, but the dark web what became well known because of the huge bust they had on the largest site that they had on the dark web, which was Silk, I believe it was called Silk Row, on which where there they sold drugs, right? And the thing was that the reason why people used the cryptocurrency on the dark web was because you can order drugs, you can order anything, drugs, weapons, you can order hitmen. You know, if you wanted to off somebody that hitmen on there, and you could hire all these things with digital currency. And this was before people even knew what that was. And so they tested this out, cryptocurrency, first on a dark web. So that was their what's the word I'm looking for? That was for lack of better terms, not sandbox, but that was their little playground where they did initial testing, was on the dark web. So when they were done with that, they rated, everybody on there that was selling stuff on there. Basically, they use them as guinea pigs, and they shut that down. Dark web is still up. So that was the testing grounds. So now they wanted to bring it they wanted to scale it up on a larger scale. So now they offered it to the public, right? So now you can go on to a broker and you could trade cryptocurrency. So now on a large scale, there is being tested. So now they're ready to finally implement it. Okay. It says a CBDC would be a new method of payment for most people, but not new for banks. Because banks are, like I said, this is old technology. When you transfer money or when you send a cash app somebody, that's CBDC, right? That's digital currency. It says individuals and businesses use a physical form of currency. Central banks don't ship physical cash to member banks for loans. Instead, central banks send digital credit cards to the member banks. Transfers of this type are called wholesale CBDC. When CBDC becomes a widespread reality for consumers and businesses, it will be called a retail CBDC. Now, whenever you see the term wholesale And retail, that means how does scripture say? Is to how's it go? The borrower is servant to the lender, right? That's a lender and a borrower. When you see the term wholesale and retail, that's talking about commerce. So the CBDC in itself, using it in itself, is going to be an advantage for the banks and for the powers that be, and disadvantage for you, meaning they're going to dish it out to you at less value than what the banks are using. Just like real money now, it's a business. Banks would not exist. They were not making money off of you. This is the same thing, but this is going to be more secure. All right. There's not going to be any loopholes, any ways around it. All right. So that's it on that, because I don't want to make this too long. See what else I got here. So this is Investopedia, and I have these different sites. So you know that what we talking about here is real. You know, it's not what's the word? It's not a conspiracy theory. This is real. Okay, this is real. So this is going into digital money. This is from Investopedia. This is a site where investors go to look up different things. And yeah, as you can see here, digital money refers to any means of payment that exists in a purely electronic form. Digital money is not physically tangible like a dollar bill or coin. It is accounted for and transferred using online systems. One well-known form of digital money is the cryptocurrency. Okay. Here it is, an Investopedia. Again, they're talking about specifically about the CBDC. And as you can see here, key takeaways: a central bank digital currency is a digital form of a country's fiat currency, which fiat means fake or phony, because a dollar bill is backed by nothing. Well, with the CBDC, it's even worse. It's really backed by nothing. It's not even backed by paper. This is straight up just numbers in a computer, not backed by anything. There's no printing press to print up the money. Nothing. It's just made up out of thin air in a computer. Okay, as it is right now. I mean, that's what they do right now. They just print the money out because people still believe in that. So all they have to do is destroy people's belief in a dollar bill and offer a newer, safer, modern form of payment, and people will accept it. They'll accept it, no problem. Even if it has to be put inside of them, they will accept it. It says CBDC is issued and regulated by a nation's monetary authority or central bank. All right. So this is all part of something called the Great Reset. The Great Reset, as I said, all this happened. Well, the executive order was passed during the C-19, but the Great Reset came out of the C-19. This initiative came out of the C-19 as a way to deal with the C-19, right? Right here, the Great Reset. There is an urgent need for global stakeholders to cooperate in simultaneously managing the direct consequences of the C-19 crisis. To improve the state of the World Economic Forum is starting the Great Reset initiative. So again, we've always taught you, brothers and sisters as well, of their MO. It's called order ad chaos. Order out of chaos. Like we always say, we've always taught you, brothers, that Esau, they like to create the chaos or create the problem, then they come with the solution. The solution for what we just read at C-19 is the Great Reset, which includes resetting the way we know money today. And they even have a manual right here, right, written by Klaus Schwab and Thierry Malloret. C-19 Great Reset, and they detail the things they're going to do. And one of the things they mentioned over and over again is digital currency. As for a global virtual currency, I just had it. Hold on. As for a global virtual currency, there is none yet in sight, but there are attempts to launch national digital currencies, which we know there's they've already got got one in sight. All right. But they got to make it seem legit on the paper, right? Like I said, they got to go through the formal process. So they got to write up all this stuff, for as for a global virtual currency, there is none in sight yet, right? But there are attempts to launch national digital currencies that may eventually dethrone the US dollar supremacy. The most significant one took place in China at the end of April 2020 with a test of a national digital currency in 4 large cities. The country is years ahead of the rest of the world in developing a digital currency combined with powerful electronic payment platforms. This experiment clearly shows there are monetary systems that are trying to become independent from US intermediaries while moving towards greater digitalization. Um, let's see if there's anything else I want to read right now. Yeah, so you brothers get the point. All right, let me just read this. To sum up, the speed and breadth of the fourth industrial revolution have been and continue to be remarkable. Well, the scriptures do say that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, meaning the Lord is going to speed things up. All right. And the scriptures also say knowledge shall run to and fro. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So the Most High is speeding things up. All right. Also, it says that the devil he has a little bit of time left. This chapter argues that the pandemic will accelerate innovation even more, catalyzing technological changes already underway, blah, 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 and turbocharging any digital business or the digital dimension of any business. It will also accentuate one of the greatest societal and individual challenges posed by tech, privacy. And this is going to be their Trojan horse that they're going to use, because they always use fear. So the Trojan horse is going to be, well, this is better for your protection. It's better for your privacy, and watch out of this. A lot of jobs are going to be lost out of this. It's going to be part of Jacob's trouble as well, because as they adopt these changes, many jobs they're going to become more and more digital. So they're going to need more digitally educated people or digitally inclined workers. They're going to need less and less workers. Everything's going to be digital and robotics. But the people they do hire, they're going to need people that are more educated in technology, computers, cybersecurity, electronics engineering, robotics, things of that nature. And last scripture I'm going to read here is Revelation 13:15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. The image of the beast is the NWO, the New World Order. And how does he have power to give life unto the image? Because he has the power to pass these legislations and these different laws. And he's got the military strength, the might, and the power really from the Most High to enforce anything he wishes. Any laws he wishes, he can enforce them. That the image of the beast shall both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, right, which is an injectable circuit board, in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell. Why? Because of the new digital currency. That no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So, brothers and sisters, Lord willing, this was edifying. And until the next time, I'm going to say Shalom, Yahweh Ba'ashim Haushai Barakatum. And yeah, man, look for this in the news, because they're not going to say, the MOTB or anything like that. They're going to use something that people don't really recognize. And use CBDC, central bank digital currency. So when you hear that term, know that they're talking about that's just inching closer and closer to the MOTB. Anyway, with that, shalom.